I definitely think that cities will have the environment where people run into so many other people and yet feel so alone. You know, there's lots of humans but very little humanity in in a metropolitan area. Maybe it is that very crowded cities, people in them sort of yearn for this, for being wrong. I think they want to be wrong about what strangers are. I think they see every day like those less than desirable situations that strangers give them. But I think at the end of the day, they're like, no, strangers have to be more than that. And other humans cannot, this can't be the final word on what other humans are, you know?
I think what attracted me to Two with Strangers is the idea that you could sort of have these conversations with people that you knew weren't going to be like, oh, where do you live and what neighborhood are you, did you grow up in, and that kind of stuff, but really have a conversation that was more about like things and ideas and stuff that you wouldn't really get to ask somebody that you had just met in any other context. Even if it's not revolutionary, even if it's just like a conversation with a couple people, and that's that.
That's what Two Strangers aims to create. Environments where people can be real with one another. Two Strangers is pretty simple. We have a community of hosts. They're very compassionate, empathetic, curious people. And what they do is they put up these things called tea times on a website. And tea times are small group conversations where a few strangers, they sign up and they sit together with the host at a cafe or a park, and they talk for usually about 2 hours, and they talk about anything. There's never a predefined topic to start, and then the point is just to create an environment where people can kind of just be real with each other.
I found out about Tea with Strangers through my sister and her boyfriend.
I found out about Tea with Strangers through my friend Sophia.
Through someone I met at a bar named Kevin.
Through my friend Callie.
My friend Laura.
It was, like a friend who knew me, heard about it. She was like, oh, this seems like a great fit for you.
I found out about Two with Strangers through my friend Johan, who's also a host. We used to work together, and basically one time I was trying to coordinate a meetup with him, and he's like, oh, I can't do this time. I'm actually doing this thing called Tea with Strangers. And I was like, what's that? And he explained the idea to me that he was going to meet 6 people he had never met before for tea for 2 hours.
I enjoy human interactions a lot. You know, that's kind of why I'm doing this. If you're doing it right and you're actually becoming genuine, you forget about all those things you're supposed to be doing. You forget about the show you're supposed to be putting up. And I knew no one going in. But just within the very first hosting session, that we all had this kind of like a potluck, like welcome new hosts and let's all eat and share a meal. So when that happened, they were honestly some of the most open, kind-hearted, sympathetic, and honestly very cool people. And I was very glad to ever have met them. And I don't know if our circles would have met otherwise. It's just this 100% serendipity kind of a thing. If you think strangers are going to be this terrible experience and they're just going to be like, oh, that guy's in my way, or that person just haggled me for money, and like, if you think that's all what strangers are, and you enter every stranger experience with that negative mindset, I think you're not going to get as much out of it. Versus if you actually go into every stranger situation with a sort of open mind.
And at tea time, you don't really know what the hell your intention is. Because, well, it's kind of ambiguous. And that sort of environment sets itself up to be one that, hopefully, with the help of a host, can be angled towards let's get to know each other. Not because I want to make you think that I'm cool, not because I want to sleep with you, not because I want you and me to eventually create a business venture together. I just want to, let's just talk. And that space can bring out a very different side of people.
walk in, and initially you're using all the wrong things to size the person up, I think. It's all about other things, everything else but what really matters, which is what they're actually saying and who they're actually about. And I think past the first 10 minutes, when you sort of ease into the situation, you sort of just talk about your life openly and freely. And yeah, you just feel like you can talk about the things that are really, really bothering you, or maybe the things that are really, really personal. The things that you hold very deep in your heart, and what are you trying to do with your life? Those conversations end up coming up a lot. We were in the middle of one session, and it just got really, really personal, to the point where one of the attendees was talking about a previous love relationship that she was in, and I guess it was so emotional and so real for her now, years after it, that she actually kind of shed a tear a little bit. And I guess I'm no emotional stone either, so I shed a tear too. And I shared a secret with those 4 people that I don't think I've ever told anyone ever. And I'm talking about people that I know for my entire life. And these are complete strangers. And just the emotional trust that was built in that session was so unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
Learning that everyone's living a story that you know nothing about. But does that change the way that we treat each other? You would hope so. And that way that you treat others will change will be when you've actually connected with enough people and realized tangibly through their stories that they're experiencing something that you would have never guessed. And when that idea isn't something that you have to actively think about, or isn't something that you have to remind yourself of by reading a quote or seeing something inspiring, but rather it's literally hardwired into the way you interact with every person around you. When you can, you end up building relationships that are a lot more profound, that are a lot more exciting, a lot more filled with mystery and surprise.
Wow, the power of these connections with complete strangers can be potentially more powerful than anything you've had with people you know your entire life.
It's something that it makes me feel like it's a community that I'm part of. Like, it's a shared understanding that everybody who attends Tea Time sort of knows, and like you're all in that together. So it starts as strangers, but it doesn't end as strangers. So I think that's cool.